Hey guys, welcome to digit.in, and today we're unboxing the second version of the Moto Razr. Now this is a new and improved design, and it also got updated specs in comparison to the previous Razr. So let's just first go ahead and unbox this phone and see what it's all about. So the box, interestingly, is the same box that we saw with the first generation Razr, and actually honestly no reason to complain, because when we did the unboxing of the original Razr we were like, whoa, it's a pretty unique box, and it's one designed to also double up as a speaker, so you don't actually have to throw it away. Then once you've taken the top off, you've got the Razr itself over here. In addition to the phone itself, let's see what else is here. You've got this little spectacle like case, which I'm assuming contains all of your cables, chargers, etc., and that's correct. Inside this box, you've got a type C to 3.5mm headphone jack converter, and of course the charger for the phone as well. So there is no bundled earphones this time, unfortunately, at least not in this box. So yeah, that's basically what your money will get you. If you go out and buy the brand new Moto Razr version 2, you're getting the phone, a headphone jack converter, and a fast charger. That's it. So what we're going to do now is basically set up the phone, fire it up, see how it basically stands up to some initial testing, and of course also tell you everything that's new about this phone in comparison to its predecessor, and hopefully help you make up your mind whether you should buy this or not. But before we get into all of those details, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on our channel, and of course do hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any future updates from us. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. First, let's talk specs. The Moto Razr 2020 is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset, which means this phone is already 5G enabled. Additionally, you also get 8 gigs of RAM and 256 GB of onboard storage, but perhaps the most notable thing about this phone is its 6.2-inch POLED foldable display. The resolution, of course, is FHD+. It's not a very high resolution display, but trust me when I say this, it looks absolutely gorgeous. The other thing that's also improved on this phone is the camera. Now you get a 48 megapixel primary camera on the front or back, I don't know, top, I don't know how to put this, but the bottom line is you could use it to take photos of the world in front of you, or you could also take selfies with it. So either which way, you get a 40 megapixel shooter which you can rely on. In addition to that, while you do get face unlock, you also have a physical fingerprint sensor on the back, which is actually quite interesting. Initially looking at this phone, it looked as if this was just the Motorola Batwing logo, but turns out it's also doubling up as the fingerprint sensor. I think that's a really cool, subtle way of adding a feature into the design of the phone. Lastly, you've got a 2800 mAh battery in here. It's a LiPo battery instead, and it also supports 15 watts of fast charging. In terms of SIM cards, you actually get dual SIM on this phone. The SIM slot can accommodate 2 physical SIM cards, making this the first foldable phone being capable of doing so. So that's pretty awesome. Now with the specs out of the way, let's take a look at what's new. One of the biggest criticisms of the original foldable Razr was its hinge and in part the display. When you would open or close the original Moto Razr, which came out less than a year ago, it would create a massive gap, allowing for dust and other particle matter to go in. It also provided a point of weakness for the display, basically making it very vulnerable to damage. However, this entire mechanism is completely changed. Now Motorola says that they've completely redesigned the hinge, and sure enough, there is actually no gap when you close the phone now. There is still that small metal plate underneath which moves with the display when you close it, but in all honesty, there is zero gaps anywhere. Not with the phone closed, not when you open it, and not when you're closing it either, which is actually pretty impressive given the fact that that was one of the biggest points of criticism. The camera on the Razr is also markedly improved in comparison to what we saw last year. Not only is it shooting much faster, but it's also producing some very good image results. Thanks to the fact that this has a 48 megapixel sensor which is capable of binning the result to 12 MP images, We're going to be showing you a few samples shot from this phone so you can make up your mind whether these are good shots or not. In my opinion, I do like the output from the Razr, and I wouldn't really expect a lot more coming from the smartphone. What I would have liked, however, is a dual lens system or maybe even a triple lens system, but that would be pushing it too far. And honestly, there really isn't any space in here to have a multi-camera system on board. The 48 megapixel lens does allow you to digitally zoom in at up to 8x, but that's pretty much all you get. Now let's talk about the construction of this device, because that's actually pretty interesting. Motorola is using a host of materials to put together the new Razr. The display is of course plastic POLED. The frame is Series 7000 aluminum, and the top, or rather the front, the back is Gorilla Glass 5. The phone also has water repellent coating, but honestly, I would not want any of you guys to think that there is any kind of water resistance to this phone. And very strongly, I would recommend that you do keep this away from any kind of accidental spillage, because given the fact that there are a lot of crevices on this device, especially to accommodate the hinge, there are points of ingress, especially for liquid. Now, what's really cool about the Moto Razr is that how compact it truly becomes. Like, this is a phone that can go in your pocket so easily, and it just doesn't take up much space. So this form factor is actually very convenient, because this is for people who don't want, or rather don't enjoy having a 6.2 inch or larger or similarly sized phone taking up all the space in their pocket. The Moto Razr basically folds into half, and you can slide it into your pocket and out very easily. The other fold form factor, such as the Galaxy Fold, is for people who enjoy, or rather require, a lot more screen space than what a standard smartphone can provide. So when the double space is folded in, it becomes one large smartphone. But this is for those who want to miniaturize the smartphone into a form factor that's easy to pocket or carry around mostly. Now, one of the biggest criticisms that I can face about this phone is the fact that it has a 2800 mAh battery. That's not a whole lot, but then again, with the POLED display, one, it's low power consumption. It is entirely possible that the phone would last a day. Now, we don't have the phone for very long. We will not be able to run our entire suite of tests on it in order to assess whether the Razr would last an entire day's worth of heavy usage or not. We have this phone for a little under 24 hours, if about 24 hours. So what we're going to tell you about is just generally how it feels, what it's about, etc. Now, what's really nice about the Razr is that unlike the competing phone with the same form factor, this phone does have an outer display, one, and it's actually quite usable. Now, this is a 2.7 inch G OLED display with a resolution of 800 by 600. You can pin apps to it, and you could also use it as a way to take selfies. So the display is actually quite useful. You could bring up your dialer, you could read messages, respond to messages. You could do a lot actually just from here without even opening up the phone. You could also watch YouTube right on here. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not the best experience, but the fact that you can do it is what really is amazing on here. So overall, who is the Razr for? Now, this is not a phone for everybody. This is not a phone that's for gamers. This is a purely lifestyle product. This is for people who want to show off with something that's really, really cool. And let's be honest, the Razr is absolutely up there when it comes to the cool factor. It's sufficiently powerful for most people and to get by on daily usage, for emails, for music, for entertainment, and especially for taking a lot of photos. This camera allows you to take photos in a host of different ways, which is really cool, and it allows you to use this 48 megapixel sensor as both a rear facing and a front facing camera. So whether it's your selfies or your actual landscape photos, they're all going to turn out well. The only criticism that I would have of this phone is honestly with the battery life. With a 2800 mAh battery, I do not expect this phone to last an entire day, especially if you're a power user. So what are you paying for with this phone? You're basically paying for the form factor and the insane engineering it takes to pack all of the amazing features of a regular smartphone that you would expect it to have into something not only this small and thin but also foldable. So that's a quick look at the Moto Razr 2020, and hopefully you've liked this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have any questions about the phone, make sure to leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Before you leave, make sure to hit the bell icon as well so that you don't miss any future updates from us. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.